I've been gambling recently. Not for my own volition, but because of my addiction, my affliction. Okay, I've talked about this already. I've been very open about it, but I have the Robinhood app, which I use to primarily invest. And my investments have gone fine. You know, I just buy a stock I like, I hold it for a long time, I sell it maybe after a few years, but that's it. It's really nothing crazy. Until they add prediction markets. They added prediction markets to Robinhood that changed my life. Because there are literally, and I'm not making the number up, there's 900 things you can gamble on Robinhood. Things from who's going to win the best picture at the Oscars to who's going to win the World Series. And when I go to World Series games, it's as simple because I already have money in the fucking app to pull it out and place a bet, and I've been doing it. And I'm not proud of myself for this. I wish I didn't do it. I am losing money right now. And apparently, I'm not alone in this gambling epidemic. CoffeeZill's got a video about it. Let's watch.
Gambling has changed. It used to be you'd lose your money on slots in Vegas, but today, not only can you do that, you can also bet on your favorite sports team, on the opening coin toss, on this individual pitch, or on all three in a parlay. You can do it from your phone, your tablet, your Apple Watch. You don't just have to gamble on sports. You can gamble on esports, on video game items, on slots with those items. You can do it in Roblox or on regular stocks, on meme stocks, gamble with calls, gamble on earning calls, gamble on calls with earning calls. You can gamble on political events, world events. You can bet if Zelensky's going to wear a suit before July, if Jerome Powell is going to say inflation 50 or 60 times in September. And you don't just have to gamble on that. You can gamble on crypto coins, Trump coin, Dogecoin, Fartcoin. You can gamble on the champion of Fartcoin coin, and you can gamble on any of the posts the champion of Fartcoin has ever made on whether they will become popular or not. And if none of that's your cup of tea, you can also just gamble directly within your banking app on a game of roulette. Like a gentleman. Not even my favorite political show is safe.
Shout out to Prize Picks, the best app to fire on sports.
It's got to be the worst feeling when you have a podcast that you really love, that you think's doing really good stuff in the world, and then you find out that they're doing like Prize Pick sponsorships.
How did we get here? And is it a good thing that we're turning every spare moment of our lives into a game of chance?
Yes, I think we should increase the amount of gambling. I don't think there's enough gambling right now. There needs to be more. We should be gambling on our own life events. Because here's the issue I have with gambling. A lot of gambling is insider trading. We see this happen all the time. We see what happens in crypto. Trump coin rises and falls by 50% sometimes, and somebody makes $80 million. The same thing is happening on like poly market bets for things that people can actively control. Like, will there be a dildo thrown onto the WNBA court, and what color will it be, right? People are controlling these outcomes because they're making big bets on them, and they can stand to make a lot of money. What we need is more gambling that we can control. Everybody should be able to insider trade. Then there's no such thing as insider trading.
I'm betting no.
When everyone is super... The gamification of the gamble.
There are three things responsible for gambling becoming more mainstream, but the first and biggest trend is simply the mainstream becoming more like gambling. See, Silicon Valley learned a decade ago that gambling mechanics are incredibly good for user retention, so they put them everywhere. Let's say you're shopping online. Well, now you can spin a wheel to unlock prizes. Or if you're playing video games, you can open a loot box, get some randomized items. You can even use those items as virtual currency in a casino we've made a 3-part series about. Or maybe you don't have a problem with loot boxes for adults, but we've also put them in kids' video games because, you know, got to start them young.
I think the biggest single thing that changed America's relationship with gambling was the law that passed that allowed fantasy sports betting. I mean, fantasy sports is what opened up the gateway, right? I feel like that's what made shit go crazy. But maybe this also changed a bit of the chemistry, the nuclei we all have to make us more accustomed to gambling. I mean, brother, I do remember playing, what was that dog shit ass Fall Guys clone that I loved deeply in my heart because I used to win all the time? Stumble Guys. Bro, my first time playing Stumble Guys, I wasn't sponsored. I spent $1,000 on gambling for skins. There's not even a market for skins. I was just gambling.
Roblox is the largest game for minors, and they are stuffed with randomized loot boxes. But even if that's fine for you, what about the third-party websites which, against TOS, allow full gambling based on a kid's game? And yes, there are actual kids gambling on these apps.
We should have a gambling merch drop, and the price of the product you get is a wheel spin. But you have to put your card information to do the wheel spin, and then you could just get like astronomically hoed, or you could get like free merch. You know what I'm saying? Like 1 penny merch or like $100 for a shirt. That's illegal. Who asked, bro? We're on twitch.tv. Who's following the laws here, man? Wake up! It's mogul moves. Twitch.tv exists to extract the money from viewers to the maximum degree. It is not about bringing new viewers in. It is not about reaching new communities. It is about extraction. How much can we extract? What is the dollar per viewer? DPV. That's what you are. You're a DPV. And what's the V that we can get from your D? Do you understand me? That's all you are. Hype train, treasure train, 200 gifted. Now you get some bits, add more bits to do this channel's bit challenge. We got a bit challenge, everybody. Extract bits time. Enter the wheel spin, and I'll give you the flesh off my blood. I'll give you the blood from my skin if you do my wheel spin. That's what it's supposed to be, and you're my train conductor, and I'll choo-choo for you if you join my train. At the end of the day, it's all pain. Should we do slam poetry?
Won a bit of profit there. I had 200 Robux. No, I had 200 Robux in profit, 100 Robux in profit, but I lost them. But I had 50 Robux and I lost it, and I thought I got 50 Robux again. So on this, mine's on a Robux Revolve.
It's literally blackjack.
Buy 40 crates now. No, not 40 crates, but like 44 crates. That looks good.
Oh, it's worse than blackjack. It's slots. Okay, it's slots. Oh, W, I got red hat.
Let's go. We're in profit. Let's go.
It is absolutely disgusting to see that. And look, I spoke to an insider who worked on this website, Roblox Wild, before it got shut down. He shared data which claimed they made $5,000 a day, or roughly $2 million a year. Thankfully, this website got shut down, but third-party gambling sites still persist because copying casinos makes a ton of money. And that's why we've been putting it into everything, including our politics. Prediction markets are the answer to the question of what if we could YOLO on election results and world events?
Maybe Nintendo was right. Because Nintendo used to have slot mechanics in all their games, and I liked that. When they had like the casino corner in Pokemon, and then they had the Mario Party, chance. Like they had little slots everywhere. It was like the Luigi slot game, I think was it Mario Party? And then they got rid of them all. And I always hated on them for that. But maybe they just were ahead of the curve. Maybe they were ahead of the damn curve. But it's also probably fine in a single player game.
The biggest websites are Polymarket and Kalshi, which have exploded in popularity during the American election cycle. But it isn't just major events that attract bettors. I was recently asked to investigate whether this was a suit that Zelensky was wearing. Why? Well, the prediction market had bet $200 million in betting volume on this bet, and some of them were really mad that they decided, no, this is not a suit, I guess. Whether you think it is or not, the volume of betting here is insane.
When you put your entire house on Zelensky eating a sandwich and then he eats a hot dog and you lose everything. I'm getting a philosophy degree later that day. I'm taking that shit to court.
Is because these companies are exploiting loopholes that allow betting even in states where normal gambling is illegal. Because these companies say they're not a casino, so they don't fall under the same rules, which is why instead of having to be 21, you can now gamble at 18 on prediction markets. And while there have been legal challenges to this, both of the major companies, Kalshi and Polymarket, have recently brought on the president's son as an advisor, making it hard to see how they're gonna be meaningfully regulated. Meanwhile, all the major betting apps are busy launching their own prediction market copycats to get around the same weak rules that we still have regarding betting.
Robinhood already did it. The prediction market's already there on Robinhood. And here's the thing, even if the next administration does something about this, the speed at which the American government works, we'd be lucky to see a change in like the next fucking 15 years, bro. The European Parliament is the only hope. But even then, they'll just then isolate the American market. We're only 10 months into Trump's term. Is that right? Has it only been 10 months? It feels like longer. I would have gone for 20 if I was a betting man. 10 months is crazy. It's been a long ass 10 months.
Don't even get me started on the other loopholes that are out there. Have you ever heard of the TikTok of sports wagering?
This is Cheddar. We're building the TikTok of sports wagering. Legal in 20 more states than DraftKings. Accessible for 18 to 21-year-olds.
I'm building the Uber of sucking yourself dry. Sorry, what is the TikTok of that sports? What does that mean?
Swipe to predict every moment of every play.
I'm going to stop you right there. If you missed it, Cheddar is a new startup trying to combine DraftKings.
My favorite part about this is that they didn't like build an app that they could look through. They're just like trying to track and mask out the iPhone stock footage with their screen.
TikTok, and Tinder features into one app. And one of the things they brag about is they're allowing 18 to 21-year-olds as a competitive edge. Guys, can you believe the untapped market of teenagers for gambling? Now, to be fair, Cheddar has not launched yet, but this is obviously the future we're heading towards, turning everything into a maximally addictive gambling product.
It's sports wagering with the pace of a slot machine.
Yeah, isn't that the most dystopian thing you've ever heard? We're trying to turn sports betting into slot machines. I mean, the funny thing is this whole product is
Forget sweating the match. How about you just bet fast? Let's just bet so fast you don't even have the ability to sweat the match. Fuck watching it, bro. Just put all your damn money in. That's not a bad... I like Cheddar. Sign me on. Let's not even bet on sports anymore. Let's bet on artificial sports. Let's just simulate a sport and just gamble on that.
Sweepstakes casinos claim that you don't actually need to purchase anything to play, so it's kind of not gambling. In fact, you can get free coins to access their games, but they also have a second currency which you can buy. Well, not buy. You get it for free when you buy the worthless coins. For example, their website says if you buy 100 Cheddar coins, you get 5 bonus Cheddar cash. And that's usually what you can gamble with and redeem for real money. This is actually how Stake US works. If you didn't know, Stake International is one of the world's largest casinos, but they aren't allowed here in the United States. So they have an American arm, which is a Sweepstakes casino, which has gold coins and stake cash. One Redditor explains how the loophole really works. Quote, 1 stake cash is 1 USD. They only use gold coins because they need to say that you aren't gambling with real money to stay open in the US. Except, of course, you are actually gambling with real money. They just have a virtual currency workaround, which basically everyone
So
is...
it's like how Japanese, what's the ball thing called? Pachinko parlors work, right? It's like a digital pachinko.
Figured out.
It's like FIFA
Some
coins.
casinos are just kind of more honest about it than others. Cheddar's basically saying the quiet part out loud. They're going after 18 to 21-year-olds with TikTok, Tinder, sports betting at the pace of slots. And by the way, people are betting on their success. They're actually in a cohort of startups invested in by a Silicon Valley investment firm called A16Z. But if you think that's a bad idea, now let's talk about banks and gambling. I recently made a video on Yada, which was a fintech, which is a complicated story. We've done a ton of work on here and here. But basically, the original pitch was a no-lose lottery, which gamified savings. Lots of YouTubers worked with them, and they acted like a bank, at least at first.
Not Mark!
Lots of YouTubers.
Not Mark! No! They got Mark, man. They got Mark by the balls. They got Mark by the nuts, dude. Leave Mark out of this. Oh, yeah. I put him at gunpoint and said, take the Yada deal. What are you talking about? Honey never got to him and he got bit by the Yada virus. Sometimes you get Yada'd. I got honeyed. He got Yada'd. You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Sometimes you get honeyed, sometimes you get Yada'd.
Worked with them, and they acted like a bank, at least at first, until they switched their new business model to be about allowing you to gamble inside the app and lose money, essentially becoming a casino.
Okay, there's no way it was like this when Mark first did it. Was it like, there's no way it was like this. This shit is crazy. But I think Coffeezilla is saying the initial premise was you would get savings and then that would be put into like a sweepstakes lottery and then you would win that. And then now it's just, hey, there's a fucking casino on our banking app.
Now, I should actually note that Yada recently shut down the banking side and have fully focused on the sweepstakes casino part. I guess it's a more profitable business, but it's a sign of the times
Really?
that everyone is moving their app more towards gambling. And finance is going the same way.
Fuck Robinhood. I'm going to move all my money off. I made a vow. I put in one final sports bet on Dodgers game 6. After I win it, I'm moving all my money off. I put in one final bet. One last bet to win it all back. What if you lose it all? Then we're doing one final bet. One final bet to win it all.
On August 19, 2025, the investing app Robinhood announced they are bringing sports betting prediction markets to their app. In the announcement, the vice president of Robinhood claimed sports betting was a, quote, no-brainer, as we aim to make Robinhood a one-stop shop for all your investing and trading needs. AKA, we noticed people were leaving.
Also, their fees are so insanely high for gambling. Their fees are ridiculous. Holy shit. I think it's like 5% flat or something.
And ironically, the very next day, FanDuel, a sports betting app, announced they were bringing stock market betting to their customers.
But I will ask you about what some call the gamification of markets. Why this move? Why FanDuel? Why now?
For us to have a partner like FanDuel and be able to have 14 million accounts on day one I'm not becoming a casino, contrary to popular opinion. I didn't buy a casino. These are markets that will be offered to the general public, and we think is massively exciting what it could do.
And you couldn't have a more
casino.
perfect image of how finance is embracing the casinos and vice versa. Actually, correction, you can have a more perfect image because after I wrote this, the New York Stock Exchange's owner invested $2 billion into Polymarket. So actually, this is the perfect image of where we are.
Dude, Polymarket is a disease. Polymarket is a blight on society. Chat, should we do a video betting $10,000 on Polymarket and I let you guys make all the bets? And we pick the dumbest bets that possibly exist.
And a result is a lot of young people now see the stock market as kind of more like a betting market. The most popular group on Reddit is personal finance with about 21 million followers. In second place, Wall Street Bets, where gambling on the stock market is embraced and celebrated. It grew the most during the meme stock craze of 2020, which shifted how some people thought about investing. Instead of being driven by earnings, prices, or fundamentals, people gambled on memes, attention, and vibes.
I gambled thousands because of Wall Street Bets. I read a Wall Street's Bet post and it convinced me because it was so well written that I should just put all my money in a rocket because rocket money. That shit tanked. I bought that shit. Let me check. This did not work out. I've been holding on to rocket money for years. Just years waiting for it to go back green.
People are chasing bigger returns and taking on bigger risks to do so. One measure of this is the amount of debt people are taking out to invest. Margin debt is at an all-time high of $1 trillion, which even on an inflation-adjusted basis is near all-time highs and up 5x over the last few decades.
It's so easy to take debt on. I was looking at tickets for the World Series and I was just clicking random tickets, like tickets I would never buy, but there was tickets that I saw available, front row, behind home plate for $121,000 a piece. I don't have a credit card that can pay for this. I don't have one. Most people don't. But then they had like 7 options for, don't worry, do PayPal credit card. Or simply do 40 monthly installments of $2,800, something like that. And I was like, what do you mean 40 monthly installments? What are we doing? They're like, pay it with credit and pay it back in 60 days, incur no interest. They had like 4 outs for me to still get the thing. And that exists at every pay level. I mean, I could do that for $1,200 tickets, much less $120,000.
Not only that, the rapid growth of zero-day options by retail traders is also a telltale sign. It's grown 5x in volume over 5 years, showing that people are trying to gamble more. Zero-day options are the stock trader equivalent of red or black at the casino. Fast action, massive wins or losses on a single day. But if the stock market is America's casino, then meme coins are basically the back alley bookie who will break your legs. Bigger price swings, faster action. Meme coins are even more degenerate than meme stocks and pump and dump usually within a single day.
I think people who still trade in meme coins, I don't have much remorse for, because I think it's so widely known that meme coins are absolute scams and operate on the greater fool theory. They just are still under the impression that they are smarter than the dumbest idiot while doing what only the dumbest idiots do. You bought Trump coin, bro? Okay. I bought Trump coin because it was a gag during the investment part during Doug's thing. I also bought United Healthcare as it was a gag. I did not buy Trump coin thinking this shit's gonna go up. Now, to be honest, I didn't think it'd go down as much as it did. That I didn't expect. I thought it was going to go down. I didn't think it was going to go down like 80%. I thought it was going to go down closer to like 30. I thought it'd be somewhat stable, not even a little stable. But it was a goof. It was a goof. It was a goof. I swear to God, Ludwig's secretly MAGA. How? I voted for a woman 10 times and I'm secretly MAGA.
Anyone can make a meme coin in seconds, and there is no value in it other than the expectation that someone might be more foolish than you and buy at a higher price than you did. And of course, Pump.Fun is happy to take a cut and make most of the money. Most traders will lose, but now you can also get a cut if you're a content creator who pushes one of these coins. We've seen the same thing from launchpads like Meteora. They allow creators to have a split of some of the trading fees, and it kind of democratizes the grift. Now, anyone can farm their followers and fans for money. You don't have to be particularly sophisticated. And that's actually how Trump made millions of dollars in fees with Trump meme coin without ever selling. He just farmed the fees. And to be clear, this money doesn't magically appear. It's being siphoned away from regular people who mostly lose. It creates a sad ecosystem where most creators are racing to the bottom for attention to get their audiences to pump their worthless coins, leading to a predictable spiral where most are scamming, rage baiting, or otherwise trying to shock each other into becoming the biggest grift of the day.
Chat, when I drop a meme coin, understand it will be coming from a very good place because I genuinely think that's going to be a really cool project. So dump all your money in it. Because seriously, I wouldn't do it unless I was positive it was going to be a really cool project that was changing the space. Oh my God, that was a Nazi flag. I'm sorry, I didn't notice. Everyone was saying crazy pause. I just thought the guy, you guys were making fun of the way he looked. I didn't even realize. I swear to God, I didn't realize. Man.
Cups got drained.
Thanks for the 20 bandos.
It's ripping.
What?
If you've ever heard of a zero-sum game where someone has to win for the other one to lose, meme coins are negative sum because of all the trading fees. Most people, by definition, will lose. The real winner, of course, is Pump.Fun and people pushing it. According to one analysis, they've generated revenues of over $800 million for themselves, while almost none of the traders have made significant profits.
Holy shit.
According to one analysis, 0.4% of all traders will ever make over $10,000. So almost no one. And look, the reason we're going through all of this is to explain the many ways that gambling is no longer just about slots, cards, brick and mortar casinos. We've injected it into every conceivable aspect of our lives. And that has two effects. One, it's inescapable. You cannot avoid gambling by avoiding Vegas anymore. It's literally everywhere. And then two, it's also harder to understand and study because most researchers are studying like casinos, sports betting, but so much of gambling is not that anymore. So as we get to the numbers of this stuff, remember, everything's going to be an undercount.
I feel like I want to go back. Let's remove all online gambling and build just a gambling mecca. Maybe in East Coast Vegas. And I'm not talking Atlantic fucking City. I'm talking a real one. You should be making the intentional decision that I'm going to travel and be a fucking piece of shit and gamble it all and get drunk as hell. That should be a conscionable decision as opposed to sitting on your couch and it's 15 minutes before game time and you see that the Lakers have good odds against the Timberwolves and you dump in $50. We got to go back, man. We got to go back to when gambling made you had to do a little effort to do it. Nowadays, I'm watching like a fucking short and it's like, let me buy everything on the Starbucks menu. And then they go through the drive-thru and they go, but first I got to hit this Roulette $100 coin flip. Oh, I lost $200. Oh, I lost $400. Oh, I lost $800. Hell yeah, we hit it. And then they do the content. That shit everywhere. I wonder what our monthly expenses on gambling are as a country now. I think it used to be $400 a year, excuse me. I think the average American spent $400 a year on gambling before. I think that shit has increased.
Starting with the biggest trend that has happened for these casinos, and number two on our reason, which is sports gambling becoming legalized. Rewind the clocks for a second back to 2018 when the Supreme Court overturned a federal ban.
That was a horrible decision.
At the time, basically, you could only sports bet in Nevada. But after this, you can see in a few years, we've completely flipped on the issue. Most states now allow sports betting. And along with that, the advertising budgets for these companies is absolutely enormous. DraftKings, FanDuel, Underdog, Prize Picks, they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars getting celebrities and influencers to push their product every year. And man, has it worked. As I'm writing this, the number one sports app on the App Store is not sports. It's not ESPN. ESPN and the NFL are second and third. The number one...
Who's getting the fucking NFL app? What are you even doing with that? What does that do? Oh, they got Red Zone on there? I got the MLB app, but that's because I like to see the actual strike zone to see if the ump is wrong. So when I am at the game, I can boo the ump. I literally pull up the MLB app to watch the strike zone of every game I'm at. And every time the ump is wrong, I boo. But the issue is it's usually delayed by like 2 pitches. So I'm booing behind every time. But I always wait to check the actual strike zone to see if it was wrong before I boo. I'm a very respectful viewer.
Is actually DraftKings. And in the top 10, half of those apps are sports betting, which is insane. There are two reasons for this. Obviously, one, hundreds of millions in advertising, but the second is what are called endorsements, which is when these apps...
That's when you try to force your dog to shit by putting a toothpick up its ass.
Incentivize players to download them and place a bet.
Not a toothpick, a Q-tip.
Sometimes literally offering what seems like free money.
It's got an NFL offer.
Don't play with me.
We just turned $5 into $150 in bonus bets.
New customers bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets if you win.
New customers get risk-free bets up to $2,000.
Now look, the reason casinos do this is kind of obvious. If they can make you place one bet, they're more likely to place the second, third, and 100th. But even setting aside the fine print of these weird offers, does it not strike anyone else as weird that we're allowing gambling companies to give away free stuff? Imagine the cigarette industry told you, buy your first pack, get 50 free packs free to get you started.
I mean, this is literally the winning strategy that Juul used. Juul would go to college campuses and they would just hand Juuls to people who were smoking cigarettes. And they would just go to parties and leave like 50 Juuls behind. And then Juuls spread all over college campuses around the world. And then they got banned. And now we vape Chinese vapes instead because Donald Trump wanted to stop vaping. And so he killed Juul. And now we vape geek bars. Ludwig, you sold vapes? Yeah, but I did it the right way by posting pictures of attractive people vaping online and then showing up to schools around the country and handing them vapes. It was the right way. We did it the right way. It was to children, not to college students. I never showed up to a high school. To be clear, my job as head of marketing never involved any physical marketing or guerrilla marketing. By the time I joined the vaping industry, they were very litigious. I joined genuinely like 18 months before Juul was shut down. So all the competitors for us were getting shut down. So we had a lot of very serious limits to how we marketed. Hence why I had the Let's Quit Vaping marketing program that we were going to sponsor FaZe Banks for.
It turns out the casinos actually hate the exact player that's featured in all of their advertisements, the guy who actually wins too much money. Which is actually so crooked when you think about it, that if you're one of the few people who achieves what they're promoting, they actually don't want you.
And it's exactly like what Vegas does, but on a digital level where they can just fucking ban you from an app and then you're just dead. Would you be surprised how much money Americans spend on average on lottery and scratch-off tickets? Would I be surprised? No, not even a little bit. I'm not surprised a little bit, bro. Nowadays, we're gambling a crazy amount. I think we are going to, if not already, beat Australia on how much the average person gambles. I think we're catching up and going to beat Australians.
Individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today. Former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years.
That's right. The FBI just exposed a massive sports rigging scheme that was using these apps to win money on rigged basketball games. One example of this was March 23rd, 2023, when an NBA player, Terry Rozier, told a friend ahead of time that he was going to go out early on a foot injury. And so that night, $200,000 in bets were placed on his underperformance because no one else knew that he was injured. And a few minutes after Terry kind of limping around, he left the game and the bets paid off. A few days later, Terry Rozier and his friend allegedly counted the money at his house from the fraudulent wagering scheme. And this was one of several rigged games the FBI...
That is so dumb to count it. Why would you count it, bro? It is funny watching the footage on hindsight and seeing how he's acting for stage. They call me a theater kid. That motherfucker looking at his foot like it's got a nuke attached to it. Like he's got a second foot growing out of it.
This isn't even the first time someone was caught doing something like this.
Jonte Porter, who played for the Toronto Raptors, has already pled guilty. He's already pled guilty. He's awaiting sentencing for doing just what Rozier and Jones are accused of.
Terry Rozier contract. Let's just see how much money he gave up to do this. Terry Rozier had a $26 million contract for this year. He's made $160 million in career earnings. And they were counting up 200 fucking K. Brother, you have made almost 5 Moist Critical YouTube channels and you're sweating $200,000? What are we doing here? That's insane.
This train has already left the station, Laura. And I have to tell you, when Jeff Teague, an NBA player, says, oh, there's betting everywhere, it is everywhere. I've done ads for DraftKings. LeBron James has done ads for DraftKings. In fact, ESPN, when they were reporting this story this morning, they're having programming, people talking just like you and me, talking about this scandal on the press conference the FBI was giving, and underneath them on the ticker was an ad for ESPN Bet, which is ESPN's own sportsbook.
Yeah, the irony of all of this is that the same people who condemn illegal betting going on are simultaneously pushing the sports books which create the opportunity. And at some point, the producers on ESPN actually noticed it. And see if you can spot the moment they try to fix the sportsbook ad
They've
in
become
the corner.
self-aware.
You hear a lot about legal sports gambling on this show. The Bussin' Boys, obviously sports gambling is a huge part of what you do, so we put those all out there as a preamble because it might be in the back of people's minds, and we acknowledge that this is a different time and place. However, there is a fine line, not so fine, there is a bold line that obviously has to be drawn.
Well, that's a little awkward. You're actually supposed to remove the ad for sports betting before talking about sports rigging.
Unfortunate
And honestly,
timing.
we've only hit the tip of the iceberg here because we've since learned these professional leagues are useless at catching this stuff. Turns out the NBA already investigated Terry Rozier before the FBI indictment for that exact game, and they cleared him because the NBA commissioner said there was insufficient evidence.
Ultimately concluded that there was insufficient evidence despite that aberrational behavior to move forward.
Right.
And then the FBI was like, nah, they just did it. You missed that one? How'd you miss that one? That guy looks evil. Adam Silver's just bald, guys, okay? Relax. Bald people look evil.
One study estimates that 22% of all Americans and almost half of men my age have an online sports betting account.
Chat, press 1 if you have a sports betting account. Let's see it. Be honest. Even if you don't actively use it, press 1 if you have used a sports betting account. Active or past.
2.
Active or past. It counts if you have opened up a CS box or invested in a stock. Don't you know that counts? I'm counting it. Yeah, I'm saying it's a conglomerate group. I invested in an ETF. You son of a bitch. We caught you. Cash Patel should be at your door any moment. You motherfucker. You are no better than Terry Rozier. You son of a bitch. Bagged another one. Do Pokemon cards count? Yeah, absolutely. Opening a Pokemon card is literally worse odds for you than pulling the slot at Buffalo.
Another estimates that 1 in 4 people have placed a bet on sports and 1 in 5 have placed a bet in the last year. Like with all surveys, there's margins of error here, but the data mostly agrees. Sports betting is very widespread and extremely popular among young men. And for the ones who get addicted, it's financially devastating. One recent study looked at Americans' finances before and after sports betting was legalized by their state. They found that bankruptcy rates rise approximately 10% after legalization. Another paper looked at financial stability, noting that for households that do bet, they spend on average about $720 a year sports betting. And the study found that for every dollar someone deposits for betting, there's a reduction in net investments of just under $1. As people gamble more, they invest less.
That makes sense.
Which means their financial future is worse.
Because they're using their investment money for gambling.
This is especially true of problem gamblers or gambling addicts. To be clear, this is not something that affects all gamblers.
The only problem is when you stop gambling, because then you stop your ability to earn. So I don't know what he's talking about with these problem gamblers. That's you? No, because I haven't stopped yet. And I know I'm inches away from the jackpot. I just have one final bet I need to hit.
Roughly 1% of the world population suffers from this. It's more common among people who bet regularly and bet online. Two of the things that sports gambling encourages. Problem gambling completely obliterates people's finances and affects more than just the gambler, because as they beg, borrow, or steal to continue their addiction, they affect everyone around them. And I do mean steal. Roughly half of gambling addicts will commit a crime, and most of those crimes are to continue gambling. Often
half?
W gambling.
I guess that makes sense, because I'm thinking of the 2 gambling addicts I knew, and they both committed crimes. Have you? Have I committed crimes? Yeah, 100%, but not thievery related to gambling. My crimes are unrelated to gambling. Grayson Goss, addicted to gambling, committed a crime, fraud, and Slicker, addicted to gambling, committed a crime, fraud. Tax evasion is not theft. It is not theft if you evade, as long as you don't get caught. If you evade for the rest of your life, you will never commit a crime.
Leading to a spiral where the addict doesn't see a way out, which is why problem gambling has one of the highest suicide rates of any substance addictions. Full stop.
That makes so much sense. The despair you feel after losing in gambling is almost unmatched, because it's not like you can just get a hit again, because you need to get the funds again, and getting the funds is hard. The despair of losing in gambling is tough. I know you're making a joke, but losing in League of Legends isn't even as close, because at least you can boot up the lottery and open up another league game and maybe just queue into one of the 30% of games you're supposed to win. But if you lose it all on a gambling bet, you can't boot it up. Like, it's over.
I don't get it. You know none of this matters, right?
Yeah.
You've tried this before with Roobet, CS2, and it did nothing.
Yep.
No, literally, I mean nothing. absolute silence. All the moralizing, the anti-gambling, you're wasting your time.
Yeah. Let me tell you a story. A year ago, I was offered $20,000 to do a video by casino. Now, I said no and made a whole series about it, but what I didn't tell you is that later I was offered $1 million to cover my legal fees in an ongoing case. Now, this was offered by a person who said they wanted to remain anonymous, no strings attached, very nice person. They said they wanted to just help out. Sounds great. But then I found out the money was coming from a sports betting company. They were one of the top people, and that's obviously a dilemma for me. I am publicly against gambling, and here this person's kind of privately telling me, well, gambling can pretty much solve all my problems. Pay my legal fees, they're telling me, oh, their company's regulated, it's fine, it's above board. Ultimately, I had to say no. Thank you for the offer, but, in my head, there's no such thing as $1 million, no strings attached. Obviously, I also can't take $1 million from a sports betting company and then go make a video criticizing sports betting. But it gave me pause and kind of gave me an aha moment that I was missing before, where I started to understand exactly how screwed we are. And this goes into our third reason gambling is winning. The casual way these casinos can throw around life-changing money for any normal person is why the data will never fix this. It's why having enough sad facts about addicts or interviewing people whose lives were ruined will not change things. Believe me, I've done it, and it's never moved the needle. To be honest, it's not even debatable that gambling is kind of bad for most people and life-destroying for a few. Even the industry kind of admits that. But the reason gambling is everywhere in spite of that is there is too much money in the game benefiting the people that make the final decisions, right? Think about the states with tax revenue, the casino profits, the influencer payouts. There's a small group that gambling is incredible for. So incredible, it basically defies logic. I'm talking billions of dollars in profits. And if you want to understand why gambling is everywhere, you can't just look at the statistics. You have to look at the money.
Dude, it is crazy how much money is in it. And I'm very rich. I'm very happy with how much money I have. I am so much phenomenally poorer than XQC. It is crazy how much broker I am than him. And it's not close. It's not close, bro. How much money? He has over $100 million. I will never make that much money, much less have it. There's making it, and then there's taxes, life expenses, and then having it. That's a crazy amount of money, bro. He's got so much money. Trainwrecks has so much more money than I'll ever have in my life, ever. Start taking gambling ads. I'll do the comedy festival first, to be honest. If it goes to shit, you'll see me in Riyadh. I'll do the comedy festival. If that doesn't work out, then I'll start the gambling ads. That's probably the game plan. That's the roadmap. The Riyadh Gambling Comedy Festival. It is a crazy amount of money. You know why else gambling will always be around is because it is so awesome. And it's so easy to gamble on some shit, feel the rush, heighten the experience of watching a sport, or delude yourself. This happened, bro. I was at the Dodgers game. They do a 50-50 raffle. 50% of the proceeds go to a charity. 50% of the proceeds go to the winner of the raffle who wins, usually $100,000+. I put $50 into that raffle. My ticket was 696969. I was like, hell yeah, winning ticket. The Dodgers lose the game. I'm like, it's all right. I'll win the raffle. The winning ticket was $5.3 million off from whatever my ticket number was. It was like as far as could humanly be possible. But I literally remember looking at the score, the game was lost, and thinking, I'll probably win the raffle. I literally thought that to myself. I remember looking at the Robinhood app, and the sports betting line was so atrocious because the Dodgers were losing by so much. It was a 5% chance for the Dodgers to win that I put in at that point another $500 because I thought, damn, it's going to be so sick when this is the greatest comeback of all time and I make 20x my money. Your brain's cooked? Yeah, it's insanely cooked. I'm a gambler. I love gambling. Yeah, it's fried. It's why I have had a policy where I don't gamble unless I'm in Vegas or like at some if I was in Macau or something. I had this policy forever. I never downloaded a gambling app. I avoided all forms of online gambling. I don't even gamble I won't gamble money with friends. Like if a friend's like, I'll bet you $100, I will always cap it out at $5 because I don't even want to engage in gambling. gambling. And then it popped up on an app I already had, and now I'm sucked back in. You had a poker game? I don't find poker to be the same. I think like if you do a poker night with your friends, it is not the same to me. But this may be me compartmentalizing, but a poker night with your boys where you're sitting around a table slinging cards for 4 hours is a little different. It just is. It just is different.
And I want to show you exactly how this works with an example. This is Matthew. He's better known online as Nadeshot, and recently he took a gambling deal with an offshore crypto casino. And when he first talks about the deal, I want you to notice it's a little strange. He almost seems hesitant.
Boys, we just partnered with Rootbet, and before I say anything, don't gamble, okay? You will lose. I promise you, you're gonna lose. But that's why I partnered with Rootbet, so they can pay me to gamble. So, even when I lose,
You're my mans.
I'm still gonna lose.
What the fuck was that ad read? At least he's honest. I mean, I think he was honest up until the last sentence. He should have said, even when I lose, I win. He literally lied at the 99-yard line. He dropped the ball at the 99-yard line. The whole point of him taking the sponsor to gamble is that he can win regardless of what happens in the casino because he's getting paid to do it. He got real close. He was honest. I think he's saying he gambles so much he loses the sponsor. I don't believe that, though. I think he would be lying if he said that. I don't believe he took a gambling sponsorship, gambled all the money, lost every single dollar that they paid him to show it off, and he's like, see, like I actually just gambled for the love of the game and I lost it all. Like, I don't buy that for a second.
Nadeshot implies that he may lose money, but in fact, he later admits that it's the most money he's ever been paid.
Okay. See, there's no genuine risk happening, which has always been my gripe with online gambling. I've talked about this for years now. I talked about this like 4 fucking years ago when the great kick revolution happened. I think it's so dumb when you get an online casino who's paying you to gamble, because then you're no longer gambling. You're not risking any capital. You are getting paid the capital that you are risking. And usually you are risking less capital than you are receiving, like a magnitude less. All you're doing is like pretend losing money and all the emotions are fake. It gets conflated because it's more nuanced than like gambling bad. Because then usually when I say that shit, people are like, don't you gamble? Which is like, okay, well, that's not the point. I'm not saying that you can't gamble. Most money ever been paid doesn't equate to money made. Okay, are you genuinely with your full chest saying Nadeshot is being honorable and he took a casino sponsorship and he spent all of it, and he was being genuine when he said, I took the sponsorship because I love gambling and this lets me get it all out and I didn't make a dime from this. I'm actually just funneling it all back to the casino because I just like seeing the roulette wheel spin. Like, are you being real? You have to be dense as a rock to believe that. Clearly he made a fuck ton of money. Maybe he would have made more if he gambled a bit less, but he definitely made a fuck ton of money. And I'm sure I don't need to call him because I'm sure he, after getting a lot of shit, was probably forthcoming about it. He probably said that he just did the fucking thing we heard.
I definitely think that people streaming on Twitch, all the crypto betting, certainly incentivizes younger kids to be more interested in crypto gambling. Like, I know personally people that should not have been gambling online, but because it's so easy to gamble with crypto, they did it when they could not afford to do it, and it has not worked out well for them.
I mean, I think the reality is like the truth is in front of all of us. The reality is there for all of us. And it's irrelevant what morals you have around the truth when you are corrupted by the money the moment it comes along. And I think if most people are being honest with themselves, they would be corrupted by the money too. The money would corrupt. Doesn't matter what opinions you might have. Nadeshot clearly explaining his opinions on this podcast. It's irrelevant because the money corrupts him the moment he is faced with it. And I'm not even like shaming him for that because I think the majority of people do that. I think money corrupts. You know what the best visual for this? In the movie Wolf of Wall Street, there's this like cop detective who is chasing down Leonardo DiCaprio the whole movie, making shit all for cash, and eventually nabs him. And then there's this scene where he's like solemnly riding like a subway home back to his broke life. The Wolf of Wall Street guy's out now. He's richer than ever. What was the value in sticking to your morals? You don't live a better life for it. You're not buried with it. So I see why a lot of people get corrupted along the way. What's that movie where there's the guy? There's another movie that tackles this plot. Where there's the movie where the guy he didn't take a $100,000 bribe. He was a good cop and he had a shit life. Oh yeah, American Gangster. American Gangster tackles this perfectly. Yeah, Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington. American Gangster rules.
Nadeshot knows personally it's bad. But for the reason why he's doing it anyways, Just fast forward 2 minutes in the podcast and we find out because the host asks, a hypothetical. What if someone offered Nadeshot $100 million to promote gambling? And well, let's just say his tone changed.
I ain't turning down $100 million, bro. You got me fucked up, brother. I'll go on there and I will crypto gamble 24/7, dude. At that point, man, it's the parents' fault. Hey, I'm just working over here. You're going to pay me more than LeBron? Brother, I would be lighting up, cash on fire, gambling crypto. I would sell my soul for 100 M's. Are you fucking kidding me, dude?
We should clip this. We should send this over.
I won't sleep. I will be your workhorse. You want me to pump blue chews and crypto gambling? I will do it all.
So sad.
You got me fucked up. Them kids, dude.
Because it wasn't for 100 million. His number was not 100 million. As a fact, they did not pay Nadeshot $100 million. What's your number? My number to run a full Nadeshot. I think I've just made too much money to have a number. I retired my mother. I bought my sister a place. I'm going to buy my mother a house. I don't know what else I need on this earth. And that's not me being holier than thou. I've just genuinely made $10+ million. I just made a lot of money. If I didn't, then I wouldn't be able to say this, but I've just made enough money. And it didn't have to come from a casino. It, came from shout out to youtube.com. You need a yacht and a jet. I drive a 1997 Subaru Sambar from Japan that doesn't have air conditioning every day. I'm not saying I don't like nice things, but I'm just saying I don't need yacht money. I don't need private plane. The amount of money and the lifestyle I have, I think is awesome. I don't need too much more. I don't need anything more, really. It was a 30K EV conversion. It was a free EV conversion. Shout out. Oh my God. There was a bug in my ear. Don't kill it. If it comes by me again, I got to swing. I don't like thinking about them coming in my ear. So yeah, I don't think I have a number to be corrupted, but who knows, bro? Because there's different levels of corruption too. Like I've been corrupted by money, just not on this issue. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been corrupted to do deals for games in the past that I'm not that big of a fan of. But I think the damage that like advertising the game gives doesn't outweigh what the money can do for me or the people in my life. So it's like we all have like, I think levels of corruption we give into for money. I was the biggest Honey fan in the world. You sold vapes for minimum wage? Hold up. That was $60,000 a year. That was not minimum fucking wage. And you're exactly right. I was broke as shit. I didn't vape myself. And I was down to work at a vape company because it was the only job I could land. And I was hella down to do that shit. So it's like, I'm not blaming somebody. I'm just now in a position, fortunately, thanks to you guys, that I don't need to be corrupted because I have made enough. Didn't you do Fireball ads? Fireball Friday, baby. Yeah. But I wouldn't even say that was corrupted. I did that because I thought that was awesome at the time. I was 25 and I liked Fireball. I just genuinely thought that shit ruled when I was 25. Now I don't drink and I think Fireball is yucky because I've thrown up drinking it. But that's not like, oh, I don't drink alcohol, but I'll promote it because I'm paid.
Look, I'm just going to say, you can say he's wrong for saying that. He's a bad person for saying that. But the reality is, this is why gambling is winning. The casinos have so much money, they are buying people's souls. Even people who kind of admit gambling's kind of bad. Put enough money on the table, and Nadeshot says, hey, fuck them kids. And by the way, speaking of fucking them kids, let's talk about Drake.
W's in the shot.
It isn't just streamers or influencers taking deals. It's the biggest rapper on the planet. He signed a reported $100 million deal recently with Stake, the crypto casino, which is wild. There's really no endorsement deals like that anywhere else that hit those kind of numbers. And just like Nadeshot, Drake wants you to know that, even though he's taking the money, gambling isn't for everyone. Recently, he posted an $8 million loss, saying, gotta share the other side of gambling. Now, maybe some of you think that's brave, but to me, I see that and go, Drake, that is the only side of gambling for most people. If any normal person lost $8 million, their life is over and their legs are broken. You're the only one with another side to this whole thing.
No, because when you lose, when you gamble, you actually just rationalize it in your head and you think back to a time you won and then you do napkin math to just level out the numbers. So if you lost like $500 on a bet, then you're like, well, actually fucking last time I went to Vegas, I was up 150. And then if you add like the 200 that I won in a side bet I made with my friend, yeah, it probably cancels out. You just cancel that shit out. Do a little bit of DJ math.
Where, to be clear, that other side is reportedly getting paid $100 million. And to be clear, like, it's a lot of people taking these deals. I'm not trying to single anyone out. You know, let's also take Kevin Hart, right? One of the world's smallest comedians. He pushes DraftKings. And this one...
What's up with the strays? The strays are coming out.
Do me a favor, man. Go to the DraftKings app. Look at what I'm betting on. Look at why I'm betting on. Place your bets. All the action is here. DraftKings, Kevin Hart.
I'm not even going to ask why Kevin needs you to get on DraftKings and bet. Like, the fact is he's worth a reported $450 million. But the real thing I find so gross about this is that Kevin Hart has gone on podcasts and talked about the need for financial literacy. You know, he talked about this on Joe Rogan.
The biggest problem within our community is knowledge. We don't know. Debt is welcomed because it's celebrated. That's all we know. The knowledge isn't given. So it's not till you obtain that knowledge and understanding that you go, oh, shit. Oh, this is why you put money up. This is how you increase versus decrease. Oh, this is how you earn on your money. Oh, wow. I can gain wealth by investing in what? The stock world is what? How many people partake in the stock world? And is there a part that isn't necessarily gambling? Is there a low risk part? The information isn't there.
Yeah, Kev, maybe the information isn't there on the stock market part, which isn't gambling, because you're too busy telling them about actual gambling. Understand that Kevin Hart is not just a guy who sometimes talks about it on podcasts either. He has a whole partnership, an actual partnership with Chase Bank, where they ran a campaign to improve financial literacy. But then Kevin goes on the side and he's pushing DraftKings, which preys on people's financial illiteracy.
I think Kevin Hart wants to be a billionaire. I think that's it. And I think he'll do whatever it takes to be a billionaire. I think if your goal is to be a billionaire, you give up any semblance of like moral obligations and you let money corrupt to the max.
Let's talk about Joe Rogan too. And listen, I'm not trying to be high and mighty with all this stuff. I know it sounds a bit like that, but believe me, I am eye level with these guys, okay? I'm very short too. You can't tell behind the $10 million studio desk, but no offense is intended here. We got to discuss though how the biggest comedians in the world, biggest, smallest comedians, are pushing DraftKings. Didn't Joe get a $250 million deal from Spotify? I didn't realize before this video, like, how many gambling ads he has been running recently. In the month of September alone, there were 11 DraftKings ads in 14 videos. And with Joe especially, it's weird because he's the guy who rants against Big Pharma's manipulative advertising.
If you can advertise, you can manipulate people and change their opinion based on theatrics.
So many. Everyone gets a free bet.
We all want to win. Hey, let's win together.
You know what to do. You have music and people dancing and holding hands and spinning around in a wheat field. Like, that is so manipulative. And we are subject to manipulation. And when it's something that is so important, like making critical health decisions, there's so many of these commercials. Like, so many times I'm watching television, I'm like, how many goddamn drug commercials are there?
By the way, I agree with him. We are being manipulated. But change a few words from that rant, and you could say the exact same thing about how gambling is pushed.
Truth bomb.
Casinos are also manipulative. They don't advertise the actual reality where people lose. Instead, they say things like winning, cashing in, opportunity. And Joe Rogan's a part of that.
Every game is another chance to cash in. Don't just watch the action, win with it. Every snap is loaded with opportunity.
That is just as manipulative as pharma ads pushing pills that may end up addicting you. In both cases, the collateral damage are the addicts we created along the way. And I guess I have to ask, maybe people think, oh, one's worse than the other. Is there that much of a difference between a drug addict and a gambling addict? No, really, I'm asking.
It's like if you see the drug addict, you see him, he's shooting up or whatever it is, and you see him fainting, you go, oh, that poor bastard. But when you see a guy who's fully in the grips of gambling, trying to figure out how to get his money back, and he's all jazzed up with adrenaline, he doesn't understand why.
It's just like cocaine. It's just like drug abuse. It's just like the opiate problem. It's just like anything else. It could you and I both know people who have lost their lives gambling. Okay, you've seen people in pool halls. You see how they get, Joe Rogan. Man. There's no difference in the drug addict and the gambling addict. Not at all. No difference.
So there is no difference. Then why do we shake our head at the Sackler family and pharmaceutical executives?
Curse the past for following us to the future, huh? I guess that really travels with you wherever you go.
But somehow nobody cares. We're doing a very similar thing with gambling. At every level of society, we are shoving this down people's throats. And it's not that I mind if people gamble individually, but we are pushing it on people who otherwise would not have done it, because everything is gambling now, from sports to entertainment to investing. It is totally inescapable, and we're moving the casino from Vegas directly into people's pockets, connecting to their bank accounts. I don't know exactly how this is going to end, but it doesn't take a genius to see where it's going to lead. Gambling is going to be a much larger problem for people, and especially young men. And the saddest part is there's no amount of data or facts that I can give you that's going to stop that.
No.
There's just too much money at stake.
Regarding online sports books or winning a cash on sports, we currently work with Prize Picks. Between us, I enjoy betting very mildly on sports. It makes the games more fun, but I'm also aware of the risks it can pose, though probably not very knowledgeable because I haven't had the same exact issues. Is this Theo Vaughn? We make sure to follow guidelines from our sponsors, though it's worth being more intentional about emphasizing those risks to listeners. I feel like in the podcasting space, there's a decent amount of regulation in our ad reads, and I try to remember to advise our listeners that gambling may not be right for them, but I do often forget to do that, to be honest. He shot that one from the hip. He shot that one from the hip. He might have set that shit at 2 a.m. I might. He's saying he's not even doing his ad reads correctly. I don't think any level of shaming is going to change the behaviors of the influencers. I think the money is too nice for that. And any influencer whose behavior would change will be replaced by someone who's more willing to be cracked, to be corrupted. I mean, it really comes down to having some regulation from a state or the government, which they kind of opened the door to all of this in the first place, and are currently seeming like at least the current administration is down to take it even further. So I think we're stuck with it for a few years. I think at the very least, we got 3 to 4 years of massive innovation in gambling. And the average American is going to be gambling a lot more per year. And the amount of people who kill themselves from a gambling addiction is definitely going to increase. And I'm sure it has been since 2018. But maybe the next administration. Is gambling different from stocks? Yeah. In terms of the amount of risk you take on. I mean, gambling is also open-ended. There's different levels of risk to gambling within gambling. Opening up Pokemon cards is a riskier bet than playing blackjack correctly, than spinning a slot is, than betting on sports. You know, like there's different levels of risk you're taking on. When the ability to lose your money goes above 50%, you've entered the gambling waters. So I shouldn't invest? No, I'm not saying that. You can invest. I think investing's generally proven over enough time to work out. Not always, but for the most part, yeah. Is roulette not gambling? There's way more than a 50% chance you lose in roulette. No, it's higher than 50. Maybe it's 50.5, but it's over 50. Nelk only affiliate themselves with legal platforms like Prize Picks and play by the rules. Nelk manager.
Hey, come back to the bar and let me fix you a drink. The weather isn't changing anytime soon.
You know, all it would take is basic advertising rules or legislative change to put a stop to half of this stuff.
Happy birthday, Ludwig.
That's the thing. Money makes the world move, Coffee. And the people who write the rules like them just the way they are.
Do you really think it's worth all of this, though? Like, just for a little more money?
Hey, you said it yourself, didn't you? It's not just a little money. It's a lot more money. If people would sell their soul for $100 million, well, imagine what they do for billions.
You know, maybe it is time for that drink.
You're gonna tip this time, right?
Good one. These are the people who are why he's able to not be corrupted, by the way. The reason CoffeeZilla can say no to $1 million is because he makes high quality content that people like and they support it with their own cash. And he's able to bring in enough money to do it with positive cash flow. Why did he make himself look so short? He didn't make himself look short, I'll tell you that much. That was not a CoffeeZilla decision. I've corrupted myself in several ways. For example, I play an idiot on Yard D&D. That is a piece of corruption. I make a fool of myself for cash, and it's my corruption.